Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to be talking about the RX 480s versus the GTX 1080. Now, if you guys watched the AMD announcement of the RX 480, you saw that the RX 480 in Crossfire was able to beat the GTX 1080 and Ashes of the Singularity. Now, I, as well as a few other YouTubers, speculated that these were played at different settings. However, AMD has made a statement saying that they were in fact the same settings, but there were some issues. So I'm going to read you the quote that AMD said, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. I'll put the screenshots of the demonstration up. So just take a look at these and see, what this quote is talking about. So the quote says, "At present, the GTX 1080 is incorrectly executing the terrain shaders responsible for the populating the environment with the appropriate amount of snow." So what that really means is the GTX 1080 is showing a lot less snow. That's why you'll see the one on the right, there's a lot more dirt, the rocks look a little more jagged, everything looks really, in my opinion, it looks more detailed. But it is accurate. There's a lot more snow on the one on the left, which is the RX 480s. But like I said, it still doesn't seem, accurate. But if you look closely on the right hand side of both, you'll see that they do follow the same lines. It's just that the RX 480s do have more snow. So it would be interesting to see the terrain shader of the GTX 1080 performing at the same level, like if they were to actually work. So I'm not really sure, I'm not entirely sold that AMD really is outperforming the 1080 with just two $200 cards. But if this is true, it's pretty incredible. Just to recap, the RX 480s in Crossfire achieved 62.5 frames per second, whereas a single GTX 1080 pulled out 58.7 frames per second. So that's not really a huge win, but when you talk about price to performance, that is pretty impressive. And unfortunately, Ashes of the Singularity benchmarks are completely random. It's nearly impossible to try and get the same benchmark twice. So that does lead to a little inconsistency with the testing. But AMD claims to run the test 10 times, even at different resolutions, going up to 1440p, and they claim that the results remain the same the majority of the time, that the RX 480s beat out the 1080. Now, they did have another quote that seemed a little interesting, that the GTX 1080 is doing less work to render Ashes of the Singularity than it otherwise would if the shader is being run properly. So that quote is interesting to me because, one, it means that the GTX 1080 isn't running full capacity because the shader is not working. Now, what that can mean is that there's more performance to be had with the GTX 1080, or it means that it could potentially have less because it's not actually utilizing the shader that would properly display the snow and Ashes of the Singularity. So I don't necessarily know if that means that they're kind of saying that the GTX 1080 would still be better than the Crossfire configuration of 480s, or if they're saying that the 480s would actually completely outperform the 1080. I'm not really sure what that means, but it's something to think about. Now, they also said that the snow is somewhat flat and boring in color compared to the rocks, which gives the illusion that less is being rendered, but that's an incorrect interpretation of how the terrain shaders are functioning in this title. So basically, the reason AMD's side, the left pictures, are the basic reason why they look worse is because of how the snow is rendered. The one on the right, obviously the 1080, shows less snow and it makes it look more detailed. but it's just how it's rendered makes it look completely different. That's basically what they're saying. So I don't know. You let me know what you guys think. I think AMD is kind of right. I don't know if they should have chosen Ashes of the Singularity, but you know, that's the title they chose. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.